welcome everybody. We will start with a prayer by Councilman Rick Mihaljevic tonight.
September provides us many reminders of the role of our armed services. Therefore, let us remember those past and present members of our armed services by taking time to visit our many memorials, such as Veterans Plaza, National Cemetery, Soldiers Memorial Plaza, Freedom Corner, and others. Let us be inspired and participate in local events sponsoring and honoring our armed services, such as Operation Bugle Boy and Vietnam Veterans Memorial Moving Wall and Wreaths for Heroes, just to mention a few. For all the men and women, past and present, of the armed services, we pray that their efforts are not forgotten and that we may continue to live in the freedom they help protect. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I will call the September 8th meeting of the City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Branch.
Here.
Costales.
Here.
Graham.
Here.
Henry.
Here.
Hussey.
Here.
Mihaljevic.
Here.
Prather.
Here.
Schreiber.
Here.
Scrivener.
Here.
Ward. Here.
Thank you. Item 3 is adoption of agenda, and I would call for a motion also making the change of item 16A presentation from Kate Holte on MediaCom and moving her from that item to item 10. I'm sorry, is that the right item?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The agenda is adopted as changed. Item 4, miscellaneous agenda items. Today we have a Constitution Week proclamation presented to Katie Winkler from the Daughters of the American Revolution. And Katie, if you would like to come forward to the podium, and I will start by reading the proclamation. Whereas it is the privilege and duty of the American people to commemorate the 228th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week, and whereas we urge all citizens to study the Constitution and reflect on the privilege of being American with all the rights and responsibilities which that privilege involves. Now I, therefore, Carrie Turgeon, Mayor of the City of Jefferson in the state of Missouri, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week in the City of Jefferson, and I call this observance to the attention of all of our citizens. And if you would like to say a few words, and then I'll be happy to present this to you.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And I know you also brought a pin and some information for us as well.
Yes. And I'm Vivian Kaysen, Regent of the chapter. Katie, our chairman, could not make it today.
Thank you. Please share this with her as well, and I'll present this to you. Thank you. You're welcome to come up if you'd like to get a picture. Okay. Did you get it? No? Okay, that's okay. We're smiling. No, we're good. We're good. Okay. Okay.
We can get one with everybody.
Do you want to get one with everybody?
I didn't know if she needed to be in.
Okay, thank you very much. You're welcome. Thank you, and I'm very happy to proclaim Constitution Week. So thank you very much for being here. All right. The next item, item 5, public hearing. We don't have any this evening. Item 6, appointments by the mayor. There are 2 appointments to boards and commissions, and Gail is not here, so who's going to take those 2 up? Would it be Drew?
I was just going to say we have the 2 that are listed on the agenda for the Historic Preservation and Planning and Zoning Commission, which I think Council has discussed before.
or at least the committee is discussing before.
Yes, and the planning and zoning is ward-specific, and it does fulfill those requirements. So do I hear a motion for both of those?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the appointments pass. Thank you. Item 7, presentations from staff, consultants, and invited guests. Item A, the University and Community Wellness and Recreation Center update by Mr. Bill Lockwood.
Thank you, Mayor. Since the last council meeting, the Park and Recreation Commission has had approximately 4 special meetings to talk about the memorandum of understanding with Lincoln University and continue our negotiations with those. Thanks to Drew Hilpert's assistance, we're at the point where the final agreement is standing ready to be approved by the Parks and Recreation Commission at a meeting tomorrow evening, and is then scheduled to be approved by the Board of Curators of Lincoln University at their regular meeting on Thursday morning. In addition, plans and specifications are continuing to move forward. 50% construction drawing review is scheduled for next Monday, and then proceeding on in the next couple of weeks toward getting the project out for bid. So be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Lockwood? Councilman Costales?
Thank you. And Bill, what does it look like on needing the full $1.5 million from the council?
We're anticipating an updated cost estimate at this point in time. We're still anticipating we will need all of that amount, but until we get a revised number, there may be some play in there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? All right, thank you for that update. Also wanted to ask tonight if there are any scouts in the audience this evening. Do we have any scouts in attendance? We always enjoy having them. Okay, thank you. Item 8, announcements by mayor, council, and staff. We have listed 4 committee meetings that are upcoming, so please mark your calendars for administration October 7th, finance September 10th, public safety September 24th, public works and planning September 24th. Are there any reports that any chairs would like to make this evening? I will mention at the last Public Safety Committee meeting, the subject of seatbelts was on the agenda, and although that topic won't be coming forward to a council level, there was some really good discussion, and I'm glad we had that, and I will be starting a Mayor's Seatbelt Challenge here in the near future, working with MoDOT and the Highway Patrol and Jefferson City Police Department. So, so be watching for that, hopefully at least to enhance public safety just through discussion and offering out my own Mayor's Seatbelt Challenge. So hopefully we'll have the community get behind that. Thank you. Item B, USS Jefferson City Submarine Crew Visit will be September 22nd through 28th. Councilman Jim Branch is our liaison to the USS Jefferson City Submarine Committee. Do you have anything you'd like to add at this time?
There are a number of events scheduled, mostly meals and tours. They are going to be spending a couple of days in Columbia also. I don't know the exact itinerary yet. As it fills in, it will be posted on the website.
Thank you. And they're having a committee meeting this week, so we'll know more publicly after that meeting, and we'll make sure at the next council meeting to share that schedule, because they will have an opportunity for the public to meet the sailors from the USS Jefferson City. Item 9, Lincoln University Student Representative Update. Council Representative Jonathan Jackson.
Good evening. First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone who came and attended the Blue Tiger Fest. It was an amazing experience, and I'm glad that we all were able to share it for those who did come. This past Saturday, the Lincoln University Marching Musical Storm and the football team traveled to Langston, Oklahoma to compete. The Marching Musical Storm faced off against Langston University's marching band in the Battle of the Bands on Friday. On Saturday, the football team played. Both organizations had triumphed with the score from 34-32. The Blue Tigers earned their first win of the season this past Saturday. This upcoming Saturday on September 12th at 12 p.m. at Dwight T. Reed Stadium, we will have our first home game opener, which is our Bleed Blue game. I would personally like to invite you all to be a part of the home game opener this year. I would love to see you all help me root on the Blue Tigers this Saturday. If you're able to come, please let me know. This is our Bleed Blue game, and they're giving away T-shirts at the gate for those who come. So first come, first serves, I'm guessing, on the T-shirts, but everything's supposed to just be blue that day in the stadium. Also, our opening convocation will be this Thursday at September 10th with the keynote speaker being President Dr. Kevin D. Rome. I would just like to say, so far as serving as City Council Liaison for the university, I've been asked to come speak about my university to a few local organizations. I enjoyed, I look forward to them. I want to represent my university the best way I know how and can. There are others who love Lincoln just as much as I do, and I want Jefferson City to meet them. So with the Downtown Association making it possible for us to have Blue Tiger Tuesdays in downtown Jeff, giving us discounts in selective restaurants and clothing areas, I would like to take advantage of those. So I will be calling some of the local restaurants that we have those discounts on, and hopefully once a month I'll be hosting an event for the Blue Tigers at that facility, and I would love for the city to come out and meet the rest of the Blue Tiger family on those days. I'll let you guys know more about those so you guys can come. Also, if there's any committees or initiatives that you guys or events you guys would like me to come attend to represent the university, I would love to come. Just let me know ahead of time so I can plan accordingly. Because I am trying to graduate in May. So so please let me know. Other than that, thank you so very much for your continuous support with the university. We look forward to continue to work with the city of Jefferson. Thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you, Jonathan. And I know you spoke to the chamber group, I believe it was Thursday morning, maybe the chamber board. I can't remember exactly which group, but you made a nice presentation. Lincoln was the theme, and it was nice having you there.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. I did not make it to the game or any festivities. I don't know if any councilmen were there, if anyone had a chance, but I look forward to getting to some of those. And I know your resident assistant duties called tonight, so I know you'll have to be leaving, but thank you for that report. Back on the last item, there's an announcement I wanted to make about the Hunting for Heroes event, which was also last weekend, and I believe some councilmen were in attendance, so I don't know, I believe a few of you were. If anybody wants to give us a brief report or any information, or just thank you for being there. I know we had the presentation here for Hunting for Heroes, and I thought that was nice that some councilmen were able to attend. Councilman Hussey?
And specifically on law enforcement, I believe this week is National Night Out, correct, Chief? And so there's a variety of watch parties taking place in the community. I know that the police department sent myself and I think Councilman Scrivener some watch parties in the 3rd Ward, so I'd say members of the council, check your, I think there's one even this evening, but check your email or contact police, and Officer Kempker, I think, will share that with you. But just to let the public know as well, there's a lot of watch parties taking place, so thanks to police for participating in those.
Great reminder. Thank you for the National Night Out. Thank you, Councilman Hussey. Item 10, presentations from the gallery, and we'll start with Kate Holte, who is originally under item 16. Kate, to give us the update on Mediacom broadband services in Jefferson City. Welcome, Kate.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's Kate Hodel. Nobody gets it right. Do not feel bad about that at all, Mayor. Thank you for welcoming me to your City Council meeting tonight. I'll be very brief. We just want to let you know about an exciting new product we're going to have in your area. I'm Kate Hodel. I'm the Government Relations Manager. I'm actually officed up in Illinois, but I cover the Missouri area. And I also, in addition to being Government Relations Manager for Mediacom, am an alderman as well on a City Council. So I know very well that broadband is at the top of topics among my constituents. It comes up all the time at ward meetings that I have. And I, being from a telecom company, try to inform the constituents as best as I can about broadband and how important it is in a community. So I'm sure that you get those questions a lot as aldermen as well. We are excited to announce that next Tuesday, September 15th, we're going to be launching a 1 gig product to residential product. So currently we have speeds over 1 gig to offer to businesses throughout the Jefferson City area. But starting next week, residences throughout the entire community, which is something that does set our product apart, will be able to get the 1 gig service. So that's starting next Tuesday, September 15th. We think it's a great product. Really, 1 gig service, like I like to explain it, is it's tomorrow's internet today. We really, there's not a great need and demand for a gig service now, but we expect that as the Internet of Things continues to grow and prosper, that the speeds are going to need to get faster and bigger and better. The Jefferson City, Columbia, Holt Summit, and the surrounding counties from Mediacom are the first area within our company that's going to be getting this service. So we cover 22 states, and you all are going to be the first area to get this 1 gig service from us. And really, even in terms of metropolitan areas across the country, there's not a lot of areas that do have 1 gig residential service. So you'll be able to tell your constituents that really you have some of the fastest broadband that you can get in the country. And again, like I said, it will be available to any resident that's currently within the Mediacom footprint. So it's really going to be a great product that will start next Tuesday. They'll be able to call in, either upgrade their service or add to that service. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And that's really it. We wanted to make sure that the city leaders were the first to hear about it, because I know sometimes you're not always the first to hear about everything, and I know this is an important topic, I'm sure, for all of you, and you're the first to know. So,
thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Hodel? Councilman Scrivener?
I'm sure it goes without saying, but just to make sure that everyone understands, it will be available, but it will be an upgrade that will have it'll be a premium service, in other words.
Yes, absolutely, definitely. Our fastest speed currently offered here is 150 megabits. So it's a substantial increase, obviously, if you currently have that 150 meg service. That's who we see to be maybe the ideal customers who might upgrade, and then maybe some people that don't currently have Mediacom. But yes, it will be an upgraded service.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay,
nope.
Thank you.
And I have a copy of the press release we're sending out that I'll leave that you all can have a copy of, as well as my card, so I'll bring it up.
Okay, Steve will take that. All right, thank you for being here.
Yep, thank you.
All right. And, okay, under item 10, presentation from the gallery, Justin Bennett is signed up for to speak on Bill 2015-45. If Mr. Bennett would like to come forward from Concrete Solutions. Welcome, Mr. Bennett.
Hello. I had a few questions about the Roland Street. After review of the breakout of the bid items for Roland and Marshall Street sidewalks, I became concerned and started to look at the end of the bid, which a contractor does not put valid numbers in the unit price bid. I came up with the term unbalanced bid, and the definition is a mathematically unbalanced bid is one containing lump sum or unit bid items which do not reflect reasonable actual costs plus a reasonable proportionate share of the bidder's anticipated profit, overhead cost, and indirect costs which he or she anticipates for the performance of the bid items in question. This comes from the U.S. Department of Transportation. I have the bid tabs here, and he has 5 zeros on the bid tabs, 5 different line items out of 18 that have complete zeros on it. If the low bidder has 5 line items which he put 0 on as a bid, do you plan to award the project to the contractor? Is this considered a valid bid? And then I would ask, would it honestly be good for both parties to award a contractor with zeros in his bid? What about change orders? How are you going to handle them? And if there's an increase or decrease in some kind, how would you do it with the 0? And I have a few, the printouts if anybody would like to see them, to see the breakouts of the job, if that's something you guys would want to see.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bennett. And usually what we'll do is we'll see if the council has any questions for you, and then typically we'll do all of the presentations, and then we'll go through the agenda and discuss that item, because I know you had several questions that probably Mr. Marash would answer. So at this time, why don't we see if there's any council questions for you?
Okay.
Do we have any? Councilman Scrivener?
You're referencing the bid evaluation sheet. Is that what you're
Yes. Would you like to see the bid tab sheet? Or
I I guess I would, because it's not, at least I can't find it.
I believe it's on
there.
page 5 in our packet, Councilman Scrivener.
Page 5?
Page 5 of 13.
Oh, okay, all right, I'm sorry, I do have it. You were saying zeros, I don't see the zeros.
Yeah, I see quite a bit of zeros.
You'd have to see the FERCon next to the engineer's estimate.
I got you, all right.
So like the 750 square yards of temporary site stabilization, it's a 0. So if there was a potential to double that in the area, there would be 0, so we'd have to do double for 0. Or the sediment barrier, 450 linear foot. Inlet protection, there's 10. If they hit rock excavation, 0. And I could see maybe the mobilization, there's not an overhead cost in that, but on everything else, I would not see how that would be taken in the future with the city, or how they would deal with that.
Okay.
I would, just to see do they have confidence with them, with the contractor? Did he bid the project per specifications? I don't think we could have bid the same project. Did he know something that we didn't know by putting zeros in? That's the unbalanced bid, pretty much definition.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bennett. And what we'll do is take up the rest of the presentations, and then
That's
we'll
fine.
have that discussion under that item.
Appreciate
All right,
it.
Thank
Thank you, guys.
And at this time, are there any other presentations? I believe that was the one that we had signed up, but this is the opportunity for anybody here to come speak on any bill this evening or resolution. If you'd like to come forward. Okay, the moving wall, right. Why don't you come forward? And I know we had talked about that, and that is coming up, so if you'd like to give that presentation now, that would be great.
Thank you. My name is Don Hinches. I'm the president of the Jefferson City Veterans Council, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the moving wall that we have coming to Jefferson City in a couple weeks. First of all, I want to thank you for the donation from the city and all the support from the city to make this project work. The wall will arrive here on the evening of September 23rd. Site preparation will begin on Monday, the 21st, and working to get everything ready. It will be on the south lawn of the Capitol, and the wall will open up for viewing at noon on Thursday. It will be set up Thursday morning, and it will open. We'll have opening ceremony at noon, and then as soon as the opening ceremony is over, it will be open for viewing, and we will start reading the names of the 58,300 people that were killed in Vietnam. We'll start reading those names at that time, and we will read all the way through till 10 o'clock at night, and then start up again at 6 in the morning, and hopefully get through all the names by the closing ceremony at 3 o'clock on Monday, the 28th. The reason we work so hard to bring the wall back again is the wall does heal for Vietnam veterans. It's a way to heal some of the wounds and the memories that they have, but also we want to educate our kids. We have somewhere between 20 and 30 school tours scheduled for Thursday and Friday, with over 1,000 kids coming in for those tours. So I think it's very important that we educate our youth about what the sacrifices of war are. A lot of them don't realize those sacrifices until they really see that wall with all those names on it. So I think that's very important. I am a Vietnam veteran, and to me, we can never forget all those that didn't make it home. And when we do, if we allow that to happen and we do forget those people, then I think as a nation we are done. Because, it's not just the Vietnam veterans that we think about when that wall's here, it's everybody that lost their life for all the wars. So encourage you all to come up there if you can. Encourage you, if you have Vietnam veterans in your family or friends that maybe don't want to face it, I would encourage you to bring them up there if you can, and because it does help. It heals. Thank you. Are there any
Thank
questions?
you, Mr. Hinches, for your service in the military. We appreciate it very much, and for your work on this moving wall. And if people are interested in participating or reading the names, who should they contact?
You can contact Eve Ward, and I don't know her phone number offhand, but you can go on the website. It's JeffersonCityVeteransCouncil.org, all one word. There's a lot of information on there. We have other opportunities to volunteer for, we have people working in the tents at the end of the wall, which will help people find a name on the wall that they may want to do a rubbing. We have a computer tent set up where we have computers where people can come in and we can look it up on the computer and find it. A lot of times veterans come in and they were with somebody over there and they may have just known him as Hank or Shorty. They didn't really know his name, but he was killed, and now they're trying to, 45, 46 years later, they're trying to find that person. So a lot of times we look by where they were killed over there, the date they were killed, the outfit they were in, things like that, and we are able to a lot of times find the person for them, find the name. So it's a very, very emotional time. So.
Well, again, thank you for your service in the military, Mr. Hinches, and for being here. And are there any other questions for Mr. Hinches? Okay.
Thank you for letting me come in.
Yes, thank you for being here. All right. And do we have anyone else here to speak on any specific bills or resolutions this evening? And this would also be the time Budget Chairman Councilman Rick Prather has informed us that he will be pulling off the informal calendar the Budget Bill 2015-33, so this would also be the time if anybody wants to speak about the budget bill. So, Mr. DeLong? Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Joe DeLong, and I'm president of DeLong's Incorporated. Our company is a steel fabricator here in Jefferson City since 1944, and we have 180 employees, 150 here in Jefferson City. And I'm here in opposition to the budget plan, as I understand that's coming out of the Budget Committee, to increase the gross receipts utility tax from 5.65 to 6%. And I have 3 reasons I'd like to give in opposition. Number one, this increase could jeopardize the votes coming in 2016 to authorize 2 sales tax increases, a half-cent in the county, as I understand, in April next year, and a half-cent city tax just about a year from now. There was a statewide transportation sales tax that was voted down 3/4 of a cent last August of 2014. I worked very hard with other people in our industry to get that passed, but it was defeated 60-40, and that's put our roads and bridges in really bad shape in Missouri. We got the 6th largest road system, so I think particularly this capital improvement sales tax is important here in Jefferson City. My second reason in opposition is the tax is discriminatory against us as a business. ABB and Unilever are 2 other businesses here in Jefferson City. We have good relations with both those businesses. They're actually customers of ours, and we, as managers of those businesses, give each other advice. We meet with the Chamber of Commerce, the President's Roundtable, and have a lot of respect for each other, but we recruit from the same workforce here in Jefferson City, so any increase in this tax is going to make it that much more discriminatory against us compared to those 2. Also, the state capitol complex is capped, and of course we compete. It's a major employer here in Jefferson City for workers with the state of Missouri. I understand that the council didn't pass out these subsidies, although of course it continues to pass out the subsidies to just recently the new plant that company that came into the R.R. Donnelly plant, CCP, to be able to secure that as a company. And I realize this is the way of the world, but I think that there will be other ways to fill the budget hole. This gross receipts utility tax increase, as I understand, is on about a $30 million city budget, would raise about $300,000, or about 1%. I think it defies common sense that there's no way revenue can be raised any other way than this. any of us knows we can reduce our expenses 1 penny for each dollar that we spend. I was reading the Wall Street Journal this past weekend. There was an article about, on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, the Saturday, Sunday edition, about city pensions, and that they're having a hard time funding their pensions because of people living longer and rates being lower. And they cited an example in Boulder, Colorado, that they recently eliminated 100 positions and consolidated city programs in a way of compensating for additional pension expenses. They shifted from tulips to less expensive wildflowers in most areas to make up for an additional $1.7 million in pension payments. Their chief financial officer, Bob Icahn, said, "You do more with less." This is my suggestion to this council. And Boulder, Colorado is about the same size as Columbia, Missouri, about 100,000.
Thank you, Mr. DeLong. Are there any questions from the council this evening? Okay. All right. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And I'll ask if there are any others here to speak on any specific bills or resolutions this evening. Okay. All right. With that, we'll take up item 11, the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that's unanimous. Item 12, bills introduced, 2015-43.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending Chapter 35, the zoning code pertaining to multifamily uses in the RA1 zoning district, residential driveway widths, and standards for fences.
Thank you. Mrs. McMillan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There are 3 items that are addressed in this bill. One was making a differentiation between the densities in the 2 multifamily districts. The RA1 multifamily residential zoning district will now be restricted to a maximum of 4plexes, and the RA2 high-density multifamily district will allow significantly higher densities. On the subject of maximum driveway width, a local builder had petitioned for the Planning and Zoning Commission to review this, the current requirements and current standards. And in doing research, staff reviewed the codes of the cities of Blue Springs, Chesterfield, Columbia, and Springfield, and has recommended that that be modified to allow a 30-foot driveway width that would accommodate a 3-car garage. The current maximum is 24 feet for single-family residential districts. And the third item that's addressed in this bill is differentiating permitted fencing materials. Currently, the code that regulates fences is somewhat silent on the materials that can be used in fences, so we're beefing up those standards so that non-fencing materials cannot be used to provide fencing. Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed all of these items at their meeting in July and recommended that they be approved.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilman Scrivener?
I almost hate to ask this because it's almost sounds, I mean, maybe it is argumentative, but I'm curious that the initial code of 24 feet was set for a reason, I guess. And I'd be curious why 24 feet was established initially. And then I guess I would ask what changed that did all the reasons why we set 24 feet somehow now become irrelevant and now it's okay for 30 feet?
Well, this is a matter that really is a local preference, and local experience pretty much drives what the driveway widths are. The code currently at 24 feet has, I'm not sure when it was, how long ago it's been since it's been changed, but the research clearly shows that there is some need to have a greater width in certain situations, and so with the prevalence, I suppose, of 3-car garages, it kind of begs that question that whether the driveways should be increased in those situations. And so that's what the Planning and Zoning Commission ended up recommending, that in those cases where there's a 3-car garage that faces the street, that a 30-foot driveway would be permitted.
And I'm going to vote for this, but again, I guess I sound argumentative, but when I hear something like this come up, and then I think back to just recently we passed code on businesses primarily, but not just businesses, but that was in reference to runoff and non-permeable surfaces and everything. So this bill is just exactly the opposite of what we just did in the past, because it increases the amount of non-permeable surfaces and increases the runoff surface.
It can. There is still a provision in the code that limits the amount of impervious surfaces on residential lots, so that's still in effect. So a homeowner that, wants to trade a larger patio for a larger driveway, has the ability to do that.
So there is some, even though the 30-foot is permitted, there are still other codes that might cause someone to keep someone from having a 30-foot wide driveway?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
There
So
could
it
be other
doesn't
site
totally
conditions.
counter
There
what
could be
we-
other site conditions that
Okay. All right,
would
thank you.
prevent someone from putting in a 30-foot driveway too.
Thank you. Item Bill 2015-44.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a $25,000 agreement with Rackers Consulting, LLC for legislative consultant services.
Thank you. Mr. Hilpert?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The city has a lobbyist who represents our interests at the state legislature, and we recently, the contract previously awarded ran out, so we did an RFP. We received 4 proposals, staff consisting of myself, Chief Schofield, and Janice McMillan. And then we did ask Councilman Mihalovich to help us out and listen in on those interviews as well. Evaluated the proposals. We actually had 3 really strong competitive proposals. A 4th was so significantly higher we didn't even interview them. But of those 3, 2 of them kind of stood out ahead of time. And Armstrong Teasdale was number 2, and to be quite honest with you, once we finished with that interview, we were all very impressed, or at least staff was. I wouldn't speak for the councilman, but we were all very impressed with Armstrong Teasdale. However, once we finished the interview with Tom Rackers and consultants, we really did feel like they were the best, most committed and knowledgeable consultant that we could recommend. However, they're not the low bid. Rackers Consulting was $24,000 a year. I'm sorry, Rackers Consulting was $25,000 a year, and Armstrong Teasdale was $24,000. Despite that, staff believes that it's made up for in experience and commitment. So we are recommending the contract be awarded to Rackers Consulting LLC. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Hilpert? Councilman Scrivener?
When you say, and I think you said most knowledgeable or most, in other words, not the other, in other words, but they impressed you the most, is that because of the continuity and the understanding and depth of knowledge relative to the city, or just the depth of knowledge that you were impressed that they had a greater depth of knowledge in terms of lobbying in general?
No, I think you'd be hard-pressed to pick either one to have significantly more lobbying knowledge. I'm referencing Armstrong Teasdale and Rackers Consulting. I think both have strong points. Armstrong Teasdale slightly larger with more attorneys. Rackers has everyone already centrally located involved and about the same number of people committed to our projects. I think what we were most impressed with was which you referenced first, which is the specific knowledge of our values and what we're trying to accomplish at the legislature, and they're very much on those issues. So, and while that does come with experience, so there is some continuity piece to that. It's really it's that knowledge mixed with a commitment that Mr. Rackers really demonstrated to the committee that caused us to think he's worth the extra $1,000 and was the best choice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay. 2015-45.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Furcon Construction in the amount of $133,700 for the Roland Street and Marshall Street 300 block sidewalk and street panel replacement project.
Thank you. Mr. Maresh?
Thank you, Mayor. As the clerk indicated, well, first I'll start off with there is a check mark on the agenda which indicates we're hopeful for a rule suspension and approving this contract tonight, just so we can get the contract moving here before wintertime sets in and get it completed. Again, it's a construction contract for Marshall and Rowland Streets. Basically, it's funded with CDBG money. Both areas are within that zone that funding source can be used, and then it's also supplemented with some half-cent sales tax money. As clerk indicated, the contract's for $133,700, and basically on Marshall Street it'll replace sidewalks on both sides. On Rowland Street we'll be replacing some sidewalk repair, adding some ramps near some inlets, doing some street repair and some driveway repair. We did receive 4 bids for the project, and FERCon was the lowest bid. The contract time is 30 working days, which equates to about a month and a half, but you know, with rain delays and things, it'd probably be closer to 2 months. I'll try to address the comments made earlier tonight, but basically when staff gets the bids, we do evaluate them and look for irregularities. In this particular case, FERCon's a local contractor here in Jefferson City that the city's worked with in the past. They've done good work. We did receive 4 bids for the project, and FERCon was the lowest bid. They've done good. Echoing there. They've done good work for the city in the past. I will be honest. They're a small company, owner operated, and you know, it does take them some time, but their quality is good. So on past projects, they have performed, and so. The bids were concentrated, the zeros, as the gentleman put it, were concentrated in about 3 areas. One was rock excavation. We typically include this on all contracts, no matter if we anticipate it or not, have a small quantity just in case. In the case of this, if it's bid 0, if we encounter rock, you'd have to just remove it as part of regular excavations. We wouldn't be issuing change order for rock excavation. The risk is pretty low, so I assume that's why the gentleman bid it that way. It is somewhat of an irregularity in the bid, but City Code does allow us to waive those irregularities if it's in the best interest of the city. And in this case, because of the price, we felt it was in our best interest to proceed with this contractor. Another item, erosion control items. Again, this is